Have you ever had your art stolen? I love to paint. As long as I can remember, I've loved the feel of it on my fingers, the pungent smell, and the kaleidoscopic splatter that it left on all my clothes. It's my greatest passion in life. Over the years, I developed my own style, refined my skills, and created a successful small business selling my art. I create mostly surrealist floral pieces and sell prints of all my non-commissioned works to pay the bills. I'm by no means well off, but I stay afloat. Anyone who works or even dabbles in the creative industries will be painfully aware of the amount of blatant plagiarism and theft that goes on. It's part and parcel of being an artist or creative of any description. Irritating, but simply unavoidable. My artwork is quite distinct. It's undeniably mine and difficult to replicate, but nonetheless, I've been victim to theft in the industry. Recently, I found an Instagram account copying my work that alarmed me far more than any of its arsehole predecessors. The user had put all my available photos on the account, claiming to be me, and was selling prints of my work. I was alerted to this after an influx of negative reviews on my business page on Facebook. All of them said the same thing, that they'd received poor quality signed versions of my Instagram photos printed on A4 paper for extortionate prices. It wasn't my style. I made a conscious effort in regards to quality control, and none of the names commenting had placed orders with me recently. I reached out to all of them, but only a few responded. Most were incredibly angry that they'd spent money on what they'd received and unwilling to resolve it. One scorn buyer was kind enough to open a dialogue with me, though, and sent me a photograph of what they had received. It was a pixelated version of a popular work I'd posted to Instagram, just as they'd all reported. What alarmed me was the signature. It was clearly handwritten in pen, and it was definitely mine. Whoever was doing this had gone to the effort of perfectly forging my signature by hand on every shoddy piece. Do you have any idea how frustrating it is to be given credit for something by someone who is simultaneously bastardizing your work? I reached out to the account, contacted Facebook, Instagram, and reported every related page that I could find to the relevant online authorities. When the fake account cropped up on Etsy selling the same rehashed A4 prints, I realized she was seriously coming for my business. Weeks passed, and I didn't get a single response from any site admins or the account itself. The bad reviews were building everywhere that my artwork was for sale, and despite my protestations, buyers were comparing the damn fake signatures to ones on my original pieces as proof. There were even pages created brandishing me as a scammer. Quarantine for me has been lonely. My boyfriend is isolating with his grandmother across town to care for her, so I've been stuck in the apartment alone. I tried to talk to him about what I was going through, but he didn't understand the art world at the best of times and only suggested that I report it. Do Dealing with a catfish with no one to bounce off had started to drive me a little crazy. I spent so long dwelling on it. After a week or so of inactivity from her, I decided I needed to let it go, start again, and try to recoup my losses. Then she upped her game. I've always been careful to keep my business separate from my personal life. I'm not actually a social media fan, but I understand that it's a necessary evil with what I do. For myself, I only have one very private Facebook account for friends and family. The only photographs of me available on the internet were on that Facebook page. It's also the only place that I had my real name instead of my business one. So when I saw the Instagram account that had been bothering me start using my real photographs, it turned the situation from frustrating to sinister. I couldn't understand why this person would put so much energy into trying to emulate and take over aspects of my life. The name of the account soon changed. She didn't care that it no longer matched my business alias. She was brazen. Evelyn James. It was clever. Even those close to me know how intensely private I prefer to be. My boyfriend sent me a message expressing his amazement that I decided to go public with my face. I tried to tell him it was all the doing of this account I'd been ranting about, but again, he merely feigned a little interest. The inclusion of a real name and a photograph lost any customers left who had believed my pleas that I was being copied. They all thought that it was concrete proof that I was a thief, the one responsible for all the A4 monstrosities. She put up a Facebook status and pinned it to her business page. She claimed her original account, my account, had been hacked, and she'd created this new one, but the fake hadn't stopped, so she decided to name herself as proof. I sat open-mouthed reading it. There were so many comments supporting this person. Well-meaning users pandering to someone I knew was a thief and a creep. Hours later, I started to receive emails from various social media websites. All of my accounts had been closed for copyright infringements. The email stated that the fake account had provided evidence of ownership of the artwork and reported me. That night, I felt numb. I didn't know what to do. I requested copies of the evidence from all the sites I'd been banned from and didn't receive a response from any of them. I suppose if they'd believed me to be a plagiarist, then they had no reason to continue talking to me. I decided the only thing I could do was go to the police. I resigned myself to calling them in the morning and reporting the identity theft. I'm no expert, so I couldn't come up with another option, and my business was small, but I hoped that they could help. I didn't sleep all that night, drifting off eventually on the sofa. I woke up the next morning with my phone on my chest and laptop on the coffee table in front of me. I felt my bones crunch as I tried to straighten myself into an upright position. When I came to a little more and my joints started to click into place, I reached for my phone and noticed a notification from my boyfriend. It was a text message. "Hey, baby. I know we shouldn't be seeing each other at the moment, but last night was so fucking good. I've missed you." I hadn't seen him. I'd spent the night on the sofa, stressing about the death of my business. I had no idea what he was talking about. I text back asking what he meant and immediately started to panic. The situation made me think about the account that was stalking me. They seemed to be a great imposter. Had they faked my boyfriend's number somehow to freak me out? I should have called the police immediately. But I wanted to check her page, see if she'd posted anything new before I went to them with evidence. She had. It was another photograph. Again, it was unmistakably me. Well, it wasn't me. The girl in the photograph was identical, and she held a painting that wasn't one of mine, but a dead ringer for my style. Unique signature on the bottom. I started to feel a little sick. The room she was in wasn't one I recognized, but if I didn't know any better, I would have argued it was me in the photo to anyone. My phone buzzed. Another text. This time, it was from my mom, and it came with an attached photo. "Hi, honey. Thanks for dropping that stuff off for us. It was so good to see you in person." The photograph attached showed the same girl, me, standing outside my parents' front door, waving at the camera. It was just a photograph, but I could swear I was staring at myself through the phone, a smug look of victory in fake me's eyes. She was so perfectly identical. It would have been utterly unachievable to look that alike, even with the best of surgeons. I was terrified. The hairs covering my body stood on end permanently. I went through so much paranoia. Was she watching me? How did she know where my family lived? My boyfriend. I ran to the bathroom and threw up, realizing what his text had truly meant. She wasn't just out to steal my business. She was out to steal my life. I was so agitated, my whole body started to itch. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my car keys and opened my front door, convinced my best option was to drive myself to the station. Despite the pandemic, I couldn't risk it. She couldn't steal my face if it was right in front of the officers. Before I could even make it to the driver's door, I was stopped in my tracks. She was there, right outside my own front door. You would think that looking at an identical copy of yourself would be like looking in a mirror, but it isn't. Instead, I was confronted with a face I could never see how others did, my own. She stood inches from me, uncomfortably close. She smiled a little and wrapped her arms around me without a word. I was stunned, completely frozen to the spot. I felt her squeeze tightly as my entire body started to feel wrong. My skin crawled and clicked, my bones stretched, and I felt each of my muscles pull in directions I didn't know they could go. I felt no pain, but more of an indescribable discomfort. She let go and took 2 steps back. "Thank you," she said, in a perfect rendition of my voice. Then she disappeared. I tried to follow, but she was gone so fast, I had no hope. She could have crawled away and I wouldn't have caught her. I thought about getting in my car to search, but every part of my body still felt so wrong. I could barely stand up. I stumbled back into my apartment, shaking each of my limbs, desperately trying to make them feel normal. When I caught a glimpse of myself in the hallway mirror, I realized what she had done. I didn't recognize myself. I was shorter, My features were different. My haircut was different. Everything was different. I just fell to the floor and sobbed. They cut off my phone not long after. I received an email saying that I'd terminated it. I didn't report it. I'd given up fighting her. My bank account followed. Every password had been changed. It's been a week, and I have no electric, no food, and a face that isn't mine. I've barricaded the door and blocked every window out of paranoia. I can't go to anyone because no one will believe me. I don't even look like myself. I've tried to paint, but I can't. Not without my real hands. It's taken me a lot to even post here, but after reading some of the stories, I think you're the only folks that might understand. No one here will steal my work, right?